A very good evening to you all. We may humbly request you all to please keep your phones on silent mode. And I request all our participants to please sit forward and try not to keep any chair vacant in between. आज एक दार्शनिक मंथन होने वाला है और अच्छा रहे अगर सभी साथ एकजुट होकर बैठे. We are about to begin with this program in some time. As we have gone live with the session, we also welcome all the guests and participants who have joined us online. Namaste everyone. We request everybody to invite our esteemed speaker for the day. Please stand at your seat and let's give him a big round of applause. किसी दार्शनिक के दर्शन होना बहुत सौभाग्य की बात होती है। हम अभिनंदन करते हैं श्री प्रोफेसर वी एन झा जी का।
बहुत दिन बाद कैसे हो?
अच्छा चल रहा है बुक को 50 years.
Daughter must be big now. গাঙ্গুলি রাধিকা কেমন আছেন? হ্যাঁ ভালো। এতদিন পর। হ্যাঁ ঝাঁসা শখ। How are you? Long time no see. Radhika.
Good evening and namaste everyone, and a warm welcome to all
old friend of
in
mine.
this special session called Yoga Unplugged series presented by Kaivalyadhama.
एक ही हॉस्टल में
To begin with this session,
एक ही साथ घूमने जाते थे।
let's start with the Shanti part. I request everybody to be comfortably seated. And let's join our hands in Namaskar Mudra, keeping our eyes gently closed. With the next breath in, we are going to chant Sehna Bhavatu. Please take a breath in. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishvahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Please open your eyes and you may release your hands. Namaste, my name is Mamta Bisht, and as we approach the International Day of Yoga, we embrace this year's powerful theme, Yoga for One Earth, One Health. Yoga Unplugged series is one of the 10 unique series launched by Ministry of Ayush. This Yoginar, a virtual yoga experience, is an exceptional opportunity to connect with renowned scholars and seekers from across the globe, fostering meaningful discussions and deeper insights into yoga philosophy and practice. Yoga Unplugged stands out as a youth-driven yoga engagement, inspiring young minds to explore the depth and relevance of yoga in today's world. So whether you are joining us online or in person, you'll have the opportunity to be an active part of this inspiring exchange of ideas. Our session today delves into an ancient and profound branch of Indian philosophical thought, Nyaya philosophy. Through this discussion, we aim to explore how these timeless principles align with the holistic teaching of yoga. To guide us through this fascinating exploration, we are honored to have with us Professor V. N. Jha, an eminent scholar in Indian philosophy and one of the foremost experts of Nyaya. Welcome, sir. As per Kaivalyadhama tradition, let us begin with Deep Prajwalan, and for that, we humbly invite the guest speaker, Professor V. N. Jha, along with Dr. S.K. Ganguly, Governing Board Member, Dr. Nitin Karya, Advisory Member, Kaivalyadhama, Dr. R.S. Bhogal, Governing Body Member, Kaivalyadhama, Shri Subodh Tiwari, Honorary Secretary and CEO of Kaivalyadhama, to light the lamp. And also we request everybody else in the audience to participate in this auspicious ceremony by standing at your seat.
चरणं पवित्रं वितं पुराणं येन
ज्योतिष्मद्भाजमानं महस्वत अमृतस्य धारा बहुधा दोहमानं चरणं न लोके सुधिरां दधातु नमोऽस्त्वनन्ताय सहस्रमूर्तये सहस्रपादाक्षिशिरोरुबाहवे सहस्रनाम्ने पुरुषाय शाश्वते सहस्रकोटियुगधारिणे नमः. Thank you, everyone. We humbly request Professor B.N. Jha to remain with us and take his seat on the stage. Thank you, sir. Nyaya, often referred to as the science of reasoning, is a school of logic that enhances our ability to think critically, question deeply, and approach truth systematically. And it is only logical and our honor to introduce our esteemed guest speaker for the day.
My mother.
Professor Jha has dedicated his life to research, teaching, and the study of Indian logic and epistemology, shaping modern discourses of Nyaya philosophy. With an academic career spanning decades, he has served as the director of the Center of Advanced Study in Sanskrit at Pune University, authored over 50 books and 150 research articles, and has been a visiting professor at prestigious institutions worldwide, including Humboldt University, Germany, Nagoya University, Japan, and the University of Lausanne, Switzerland. His insights into Nyaya reasoning offers a structured approach to debating logic and truth, making this discussion or session a valuable experience for everyone seeking depth in Indian philosophical tradition. Now I humbly call upon Sri Subodh Tiwari ji to felicitate our honorary guest.
He's been wanting to do a session at the law because lawyers use Nyaya law. I was trying to organize a session at IMC for him. Best.
Thank you, sir. And we are also delighted to have Ms. Radhika Radial, a passionate yoga educator and wellness advocate, to moderate this session. Welcome, Radhika ma'am. After over 20 years of working in various corporate jobs, Radhika quit her job to focus on study. I humbly call upon her to join us on the stage, please. Let's give her a big round of applause. And also there's a very surprising secret for all of us to applaud her even more that will come a little later. She has attended courses on comparative mythology, ancient Indian culture, and archaeology. Currently, besides being an eternal student, she works at Mythopia, a company she co-founded. She also holds talks on various subjects related to mythology and is a visiting faculty at the Studying Food workshop run by Dr. Kushal Dalal's Gyan Factory. Her specific area of interest and focus are food and mythology, alcohol and mythology, ancient erotica, and classical Sanskrit literature. She is also an alumni of GS College of Yoga and Kaivalyadhama. So let's give her a big round of applause. Through her moderation, we look forward to her enriching exchange of ideas where we not only understand the principles of Nyaya, but also explore their relevance in yoga in today's life. So thank you so much, Radhika, and with that gesture, I may hand over the mic to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before that, I'll just also make a generic announcement for everybody else. So We invite you all for this engaging activity that we are going to do. You may ask your questions, reflect deeply, and immerse yourself in this journey. This broadcast is live on Kaivalyadhama's YouTube channel, and we request the online participants also to write their questions in the chat box. So let's embark on this journey now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be back here, and especially with Jha sir, who I've also been a student of. And we'll begin with the topic for today, sir. So as we're aware that Nyaya is one of the 9 Indian darshanas, and since we are focusing on Nyaya, I wanted to begin by asking what really is the Nyaya philosophy?
It's a good question. In one word, it is logic and epistemology. To use the modern term, it is the earlier name for this system was Anvikshiki. If you look at Kautilya's Arthashastra, 5th century BC, he mentions 4 systems of knowledge. Anvikshiki is the first. Anvikshiki, Trayi. Trayi is your Vedic lore. Varta is a third discipline called commerce and economics. And Dandiniti is political science. So, the earliest reference to knowledge systems goes back to Kautilya, 5th century BC. And in the list, the first one is Anvikshiki. A logician of Kashmir in the 10th century AD has reflected on the meaning of the term Anvikshiki. And he comes to the conclusion that Anvikshiki is nothing but Nyaya Shastra. That was the first reference. And Kautilya, in a nutshell, he summarizes the content and application of Anvikshiki by a verse. I would like to recite that verse. He says, Anvikshiki, that is science of logic and epistemology, is a lamp. Pradeepaha sarva shastrana. So it's a science of all sciences. Can you imagine any construction of a system without logic? It is in this sense, he says, Anvikshiki is a lamp to see all systems of knowledge. Pradeepaha sarva shastrana. He doesn't stop there. He says, Upayaha sarva karmana. Now we have been taught that man is a rational being. Now this quotation is ascribed to someone from the West. Here is a statement, Upayaha sarva karmana. Whatever activity you perform, all your life, is it not expected that you should do rationally? Does not stop there, he says. Pradipah sarva shastranam, upaya sarva karmanam, ashraya sarva dharmanam. We are expected to behave rationally, not only behave rationally, but behave ethically. Morality should be at the center. And is that possible without logic? So he says it's the base of all morality. What I understand from this is that provides you a discerning power to distinguish between good and bad. And that is how Nyaya Shastra helps you to become viveki. Viveka. Morality is possible when viveka is imbibed in you. And that viveka requires a power to disseminate between good and bad. And that is cultivated by the science of logic. And that role is given to Nyaya Shastra. Let us take a little bigger canvas. All Indian philosophical systems are discussed in two sets. One set is set of 6 systems called Astika Darshana. Shad Darshana, you call it, another name. And the other set consists of 3 systems. In the first set of Astika means, normally what you understand is one who believes in God. That is not the meaning. The meaning is one who believes in the authority of the Vedas. Because Vedas is beautifully described by Mimamsa. The Veda is Surhid Upadesha, is an advice of your very close friend. And when you have a close friend, he will want you to be on a right path and prosper and grow. So Veda is playing that role. So nowadays, no, what is happening, some thoughts come and vanish. Indication of so what I was telling?
About the Vedas.
So Astika Darshana. So Astika means one who believes in the Vedas. Not believes means one who accepts that Veda is your close friend. And he will not mislead you. And such systems are 6 in number. That is why they are called Shaddarshana. And Sankhya Yoga, Nyaya Vaisheshika, and Purva Mimamsa and Uttar Mimamsa. These are the 6 darshanas come under the group, under the set of Shad Darshana, 6 darshana. Why I said that this should not mean one who does not believe in God? The reason is, in these 6, Sankhya doesn't have God. You see? Nirishwara Sankhya. So how can this mean one who does not believe? But this is Astika Darshana. Nirishwara Sankhya. Sheshwara Sankhya is yoga. Nyaya believes in God, but Vaisheshika did not believe in God. But Astika Darshana. Mimamsa did not require God. Believe in God means God is a philosophical requirement. It's a logical requirement to explain something which cannot be explained without postulating God. That is how God comes in philosophical discourse. Mimamsa does not require God, but still Astika Darshana. So Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa. So that's the reason that Astika word does not mean one who does not believe in God, but it means one who does not accept the authority of the Vedic texts. These are the 6. The other set has 3. They were the questioners. They were asking questions. Why should you believe in the Vedic authority? Why should not there be alternative paradigm, alternative model of transformation? And this is how Charvaka, Bodha, and Jainas came into. They form another set. So, in this Sardarshana, Nyaya Shastra is one. By the by, I remember I tell you that the kings in those days, the Dharma Sutra tells you that in the king's king's court of ministers, they used to appoint compulsorily one logician. Because Nyaya must be not only, you should also feel it, no? You call it that, and justice should be felt also, not declared on paper, but it should be. So that the kings used to do it. That was the place of logic in our tradition. So Nyaya Shastra was in the Astika Darshana, but along with Nyaya, there was a very similar system called Vaisheshika. So Nyaya Vaisheshika, in course of time, started to have give and take of the worldview. Both became one. And thereafter, after 10th century, whole the Nyaya system is known by Nyaya Vaisheshika Darshana. Another thing I should tell you, Darshana, these are all. So if you look at the commonalities of the 6 darshanas, why 6 darshana? All the 9 darshanas you take. Then there is something there are certain features which are, you can call it, common to all. They do not disagree in that. What is that? One is that all knowledge systems must be life-centric. It should not be a system to demonstrate your intelligence, how intelligent you are. Win over in debate. That was not the purpose of that. And therefore, the Udyotakara, a commentator, this is, you can imagine, the 5th century, and now it is 2025. How many thousands of years have gone? All along, this has continued. So, the this is happening with me now.
Let me get you
No,
back.
no, let me, because I have thought over it to tell you, that much I will tell you. So there are the common features. What are those common features? If I mention few, one is they are life-centric. Why life-centric? Anything that you perform has to contribute to your life, no? That is why you are doing. If you do philosophy, philosophy should also contribute to your life. It should not end in only discourse. That is the idea. So, Udyotakara, a commentator in the logic tradition, he said that each darshana, each knowledge system of philosophy should have two parts, or should be looked into in two parts. And the two parts are what? One is darshana and the other one is shastra. In other words, the model of thinking, they decided that you should have a sadhya, what you want to achieve, and how you want to achieve. Sadhana. Yoga Sutra, you have sadhana pada. You see? The same format of thinking is in all the systems. So, Nyaya Shastra, though it is logic and epistemology, it is also philosophy. And philosophy means, for us, philosophy of life. Philosophy of life means it should bring about transformation in life. We should not remain at the beginning as we are. We should grow. So, one is that it is life-centric. Another common feature is that it is reflective. All Indian philosophical systems are reflective in character. By reflective, what I mean? Nothing is taken at their face value. Anything is presented before you, it is expected that you must reflect. This has been taught from the Upanishadic period. There are three injunctions in the Upanishadic period, and they are Shrotavyaha. First he says, it has come in the context of Atma va are drashtavyaha. You realize yourself. But how should I realize myself? He gives the steps. What should you do? Start with gathering information. What is Atma? So listen to others also. So, Shrotavyaha. Shrotavya Shrutivakevyaha. So there is already a very rich literature. Gather information from that, the Vedic literature. Next step is that after you have gathered all the informations, you should not buy them as they are. You reflect. Mantavyaha. Shrotavyaha. Mantavyaha. Manana is the area of Nyaya Shastra. So the Nyaya Shastra provides you the technique or the training to reflect upon whatever information you gather. You can see these principles are not only restricted to philosophy. Should it not be used by the scientists? What else do they do? Okay, gather information. And then after that, what do? They reflect, misanalyze, they reflect and come to a conclusion. The same thing. Shrotavyaha, mantavyaha. Mantavyaha upapattivihi, on ground, on analysis, on hetu, on linga. These are the terms. Okay? That means you cannot see them. Where you can see it. Where you cannot see, you infer. And so inference must have a theory, must have a process, or all that is described in the Nyaya Shastra. So, Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, and Manana will have a conclusion, no? So, when you will conclude, you will arrive at the reality. And then forget everything. Nididhyasitavyaha. Now you close your eyes. And then you sit. So, Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. This was the teaching of the Upanishadic period of the Rishis. And they were all imbibed in the system. And accordingly, different systems started to come into being, and Nyaya Shastra is in that tradition of that. So it is our tradition, and it is followed by all. Only thing, the Nyaya Shastra prepared the tools which can be used by others. So all systems used the tools prepared by Nyaya Shastra. So I say that the common features of all the Nyaya, all the Indian philosophical system is that the systems are all reflective. They do not rest only with the statement and whatever the meaning of the statement, but they critically examine. And only after critical examination, they conclude, and after they conclude, they just concentrate on that. They meditate on that. And the third commonality that I should mention is that it is holistic. Only that part is missing in other approaches of knowing. Holistic. In a medieval period, one logician wrote a text. And in the beginning, the opponent is asking that if the main aim is to discover yourself, that why are you then interested in knowing the whole universe? Then directly you should know Atman. You are Atman. You want to know what you are. Koham, Atma Tvam. Then why not directly address Atman? Why should you be interested in the whole universe? Then he answers, the logician answers, that if I want to know X, and if there is Y, Z, etc., is it possible for me to identify X without knowing Y, Z, A, B, C, D, etc.? And therefore, to come to the reality, it is necessary that you must know the entire truth. And it is this reason that your approach should always be holistic and not a partial approach. So this is the kind of a whole approach or whole plan of the system. So it is this way. So what they did, Nyaya Shastra therefore has to be split into two. One part is philosophy of life. You see, the term mukti, moksha, apavarga, nirvana, etc., I understand in this way. It is the highest form of transformation. So, Nyaya analyzed the purpose of life and came to the conclusion that there can be only two purposes of life. One they call Abhyudaya, and the other they call Nishreyasa. Abhyudaya is achievement. Whatever you achieve. Then the philosophers got engaged in this discourse and they said, can there be any upper limit of achievement? And a philosopher like Manu, nobody looks at Manu as philosopher. Huh? No, he was a great philosopher. He says that it's beautiful, beautiful description. Najatu kamaha kamanam upabhogena shamyati. You want to satisfy your desire, no? Is it possible for you to satisfy your desire? Najat, kama is desire. Najatu kamaha kamanam upabhogena shamyati. No. Why? Can you satisfy fire if you offer very best item liked by fire? What the best item? Ghee. It likes. Go on pouring ghee on fire. Will it say, no, 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 enough, I don't want? Such is the case with the desire. A desire can never be satisfied. And therefore, achievement, or I translate abhyudaya as achievement. Achievement can never have an upper limit. And if I know that it cannot have upper limit, all this has happened through logic, all analysis. So this is the area of Nyaya. Then how, if you know that it cannot be the ultimate goal, then how can you recommend it to all that go for achievement? Go for achievement. So he says, no, no, no. Then you should have another goal of life. And that goal of life is called Nishreyasa. Upanishadic term is Apta Kama, a state of fulfillment. I got everything. That state when you reach, that should be the ultimate goal of life. I call that is the highest form of transformation. So start with, but can you live without money? Can you live without achievement? Is it possible? Therefore, the first goal is no doubt abhyudaya, but abhyudaya cannot be the ultimate goal of life. So two goals, therefore two vidyas. Dve vidye veditavye. Education system also was prepared accordingly. The aim is abhyudaya. How can abhyudaya be achieved? Knowledge systems. Prepare all knowledge systems. So all the knowledge systems which you know today, they all are going to lead you to abhyudaya, achievement. But there is no knowledge systems which will take you to a state of fulfillment. Nayayikas tell you that you need system as well. So Upanishad had already told us, Dve vidye veditavye. You should be familiar with two types of education. One which will take you to achievement, but since achievement has no upper limit, that cannot be the ultimate goal of your life. If you aren't interested in achieving the goal of life, then take another vidya, and that is called vidya. So vidya will take you to aptakama state. And avidya, now that is where people mistake it. A does not mean absence. A means other than. A knowledge systems other than the system, okay, which will take you there. Therefore, we need all knowledge systems prevalent today for sustenance, for living. Why should we live? The answer is to achieve a state of fulfillment. So for sustenance, we need all achievement, but that cannot be the ultimate goal of life. For achievement, we require another vidya that is called vidya, proper. So vidya and avidya, this negative particle a does not mean absence, it means mutual absence, anyonya bhava, other than. So we need two, there are two goals, there are two knowledge systems. All these are the contributions of, and you know, they don't, I mean, you cannot do all these things in 40 minutes, half an hour. You can see, you need a whole month to discuss all this. Anyway, some kind of a glimpse, okay, you can have.
So I had a question.
No, I will conclude.
Oh.
I have thought and come, so I will tell you this much.
Okay.
And if I do not get, then I will leave it. So, you know, this how is the structure of the Nyaya system? You see? Trividha Sastrasya Pravritti. How they have done it. Now you want to do PhD, you know. Without doing PhD, they were doing all these things. They will tell you that how to do PhD. Uddesha, Lakshana and Pariksha. You have a list of topics that you want to discuss. It is called Uddeshya is different. Uddesha is different. You see, I am a primary school teacher. Huh? So, Uddeshya is aim. But Uddesha is listing of topics. So first you prepare listing of topics which you want to discuss. Then define it. How to define an entity, you should learn from Nyaya Shastra. Lakshana. So they have definition of a definition. Lakshanasya lakshanam. Should our children not learn all these things? And then, once you have prepared definitions, now the third type of activity should be whether these definitions are really properly applied to those things which have been defined or not, called pariksha. So, uddesha, lakshana and pariksha, these are the three items which will constitute to prepare a system. So, theory of system has been presented here. Yes. And then, don't be...
No, I have my questions.
You have questions, I will answer your questions.
Lots of questions for you.
Lot of questions, perhaps, then you continue the whole night, I will be there. Now, all this is, you know, all this activity we do, is it possible to do it only with perception? Is everything, the whole universe is before my eyes? There are so many things in the other room, do I know them? If I do not know, do they exist or not? Simply because I do not know, they don't exist. So, there is an elaborate framework of argumentation. You will accept or you deny. You accept, you have to give ground. If you deny, also you have to give ground. This kind of a training is required. So, theory of inference was prepared. A framework of argumentation was prepared. To take part in debate, you have to debate with someone. Another thing is the tradition of debate is very strong. As I told you, the Upanishad has told nothing has to be taken on face value. Mantavyaha. And mantavyaha not only closing your eyes, you have to listen to others also. So you have to engage in dialogue. So we have a very great tradition of dialogue. We have a great theory of debate in Nyaya Shastra. But all these things have been kept away from mainstream of education. That's the painful thing. So theory of dialogue. And therefore, I conclude now. Nyaya Shastra is Nyaya Vidya. You asked what is Nyaya Shastra now? Nyaya Shastra is a theory of inference. Pramanaihi artha parikshanam nyaya. Reflection. The technique of reflection, the theory of reflection, the mechanism of reflection. This is Nyaya Shastra. It is logic. It is called Tarka Shastra, Tarka Vidya. These are the different names. Pramana Shastra. And in this way, they kept on, for operation of this, they required to develop n number of tools. And they kept on developing them, not for only using by themselves, by all. And this is what is the contribution of, this. So, we have a Vada Parampara, a rational discourse tradition. Another thing that I should mention in this case is philosophers, if you start grouping them, you may group some of them as idealist, some of them as realist, and some of them as materialist. Idealists never paid any value to language. Avang manaso gochar, you see? The reality is that which is beyond language, beyond mind. You see? These are the statements of idealists. The logicians contested that. And they brought back to the ground and said that, can you understand anything without language? Is it possible to understand anything without language? Is it possible to think without language? Nasoste prattayo loke yas shabdanugamadrite anuviddhamiva jnanam sarvam shabdena bhasate. You see? That is and we are all human beings, fortunately. And we are given already this. We are not required to enter into any laboratory, either physical laboratory or psychological laboratory. We are all given with that. And the greatest apparatus that human beings have been gifted is language. Importance of that has been pointed out, underlined by Nyaya Shastra. This is the Nyaya Shastra. So I conclude by saying that it is a science of all sciences. Next question.
Thank you so much, sir. You know, for a lay person like me, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of a lot of people here, I think that the theories that you mentioned, or the logic that you mentioned, I think all of us, it's not just, there are students here, there are people from all walks of life here, and I think that if we get down to it and think of it and study it in a way that's easily understandable by us, I think that we can actually use it I don't think we're applying this as much as we should in our day-to-day lives, no matter who we are. And when I look back at our own ancient Indian knowledge tradition, it's just amazing how thousands of years ago, the seers had logically, step by step, systematically put in place a framework for us to actually dip into now. Because when I look around, I see a lot of us struggling with things in life, whether it's personal or professional. What I feel that we need to do more is to dip into what we already have and try and bring it out into our own lives in a way that's, that we can easily simplify it and do it, right? In addition, so coming from that, I wanted to ask that two questions. What is the Nyaya philosopher's contribution to the other philosophies at that time, the other darshanas? And follow up to that, I wanted to ask that having not understood it, obviously it's going to take more than a lifetime to understand this, but having understood somewhat of a gist of what the philosophy contains, how can we today apply it in our day-to-day lives, or how do we make it relevant to today's environment?
How many sentences should be the answer? Huh? We do not apply means we do not know. For application, we should know. So what is lacking is complete knowledge. We do not know. First thing, that do we know that there is some such system which can be used daily? In fact, we are using without knowing them. Right from the moment we get up from the bed till we go to the bed, we are using Nyaya Shastra. But are we aware of it? So they are not created anything from the vacuum. So these philosophers, these logicians, they thought that you should be trained to analyze your own experience, your own thought. And this is how they wanted you to, that you should receive a training. I give you the procedure, how to get trained. Get trained how to analyze your own thought, own experience. And once you are familiar with that, perhaps you can handle anything and everything. So what they wanted that we should have this what you call the core thing, core subjects for developing scholarship. Analysis. I think your time is getting up, I understand.
No, these are questions from the audience.
So I think you want me to sum up.
Sir, answer our question.
So contributions, now you can imagine now, the first contribution of the Nyaya system is that it teaches you the method of analyzing human experience. And where do you see experience, you tell me? Each sentence that you utter is an encoded experience. A sentence is an encoded cognition. Now, moment you are drawn to this fact, you will be able to now go to the thought. So there are two processes involved. Now I am speaking. What I am doing? I am encoding my thought into a form called form of language. And what you all are doing? You are decoding that. So each sentence is encoded cognition. And this is one process of encoding. Let me use modern term. I think this is more understandable. So on this, the whole Bhartrihari's Vakyapadiya is written on this. How encoding is done by human beings of thought. And that is why he says, Nasosti prattayo loke yas shabdanugamadrite anubiddhami jnanam sarvam shabde. You cannot think without language. If you cannot think, you cannot know, cannot communicate, how is it that language does not occupy a central place in your education? Next is that decoding. It is amazing, I tell you. If you look at the Shabda Bodha Prakriya, entirely developed by Nyaya Shastra, how sentence is decoded. So understanding that is all happening because you know English language. Each sentence that I am uttering, you are decoding them. What is the process of decoding? Entire process is narrated in our tradition of Nyaya Shastra. And when Nyaya Shastra developed this, other systems also joined. Vyakarana join, Mimamsa join, and all these three together. Then they realized that to develop scholarship, what is required is that minimum education should be to develop what we call today language is core discipline. The core discipline in traditional education has been three. One, structure of language. That knowledge came from Panini. He told you how to capture thought into the structure. Then you communicate. Do you always use only one sentence? You may use a number of sentences to convince. Sometimes you write volumes. And then whatever you wanted to say, now as you see, I am falling short of time. What I want to say, I cannot complete. So I need so many sentences. But all these sentences together, all these sentences must form a single sentence. Because the purpose of my expression is to communicate what I wanted to communicate. This is another area of training. And that training was provided by Purva Mimamsa. Vakyartha Shastra. So Vyakarana Shastra teaches you capture the structure of language that you speak. Mimamsa capture the technique of coming to capture the intended meaning of the speaker. And Nyaya Shastra teaches you that all that you think must be cogent, must be rational, must be logical. And that is why these three systems must form the core subject of education. That was their understanding. Now you can imagine the contribution of Nyaya Shastra. And do you have more questions or should I?
We are going to take audience questions.
Some questions.
Yeah.
No, but okay, then let me conclude. I will say that as long as you believe that you should be rational, as long as you believe that rational is what that it should be achieved by all means, rationality. The Nyaya Shastra, you cannot do this without Nyaya Shastra. And why do you need it? At the beginning I told you that you must be a vivekin. You must be a person having the capacity to distinguish between good and bad, moral and immoral. And that capacity can come by training of the methods of analysis as presented by Nyaya Shastra. I think 1% also I have not been able to communicate to you, but I will. You must follow.
We'll take some
questions. Okay.
We see our hand up there.
This has been immensely useful, sir. But I would like to ask you.
Can you? You tell me.
I'll tell.
I would like to ask you whether you would distinguish between the ethical and the moral.
If you would distinguish between the ethical and the moral.
Oh. Ethical and moral, the line is very, very thin. when you relate something to a higher purpose, purposes have degrees. The more the higher the purpose, it starts tending towards moral. And ethical, perhaps, I mean, this is how I understand, that in terms of the degrees of purpose, the morality and the ethical consideration can vary. So one may be a little more social phenomenon, and the other one is a little higher. So samashti and vyashti, this distinction may be something which is good for all, let us say, and something may be good for someone, a group. But still it is good, no? But maybe for another group that may not be that much good. So I should also perform this, but at the same time, if someone brings to my notice that this is not good for all, then I should also think of still higher purpose. So it is in this way, perhaps, I will be able to distinguish between ethical and moral.
Does that answer your question, sir? So if you could just use the mic.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Any more questions? Do we have any online? No.
Any question you ask, anything.
Please, sir.
One doesn't get a chance like this very often. I would also then like to ask essentially whether there is a difference between what is just for the larger good and what is possibly legal or right or ethical or not, as has been laid out.
You are thinking in the same line you are thinking. It is the same line you are thinking. So it is hita. Sarva jana hita and hita. Now sarva, you have to quantify. If you, without any exception, let us say, nobody should tell a lie, let us say. Now nobody should tell a lie. There is something in Dharma Shastra, something called apat dharma. Nobody should steal anything. But let us say, a hungry man going from one village to another village, and on the way he has not taken food for last 7 days. Let us say he is hungry and he takes some fruit from a garden. Where should we put it? So this has been categorized by a term called apat dharma. Apat dharma. And that is why I brought the idea of purpose. It's higher and higher. And then social association and the requirement to distinguish between immediate good or the ultimate good. That is how I will be able to distinguish these two.
There's one online question.
Online, yes.
So the question goes, it's quite easier to discriminate between good and bad, but it's too difficult to choose between good and bad. Then how can I make my buddhi take the right decision in my life?
It is
In spite of knowing what is good or bad, by making a selection purposely.
How do I choose?
How do I make the right choice?
Choosing is prompted by a factor called whether it is my ishta sadhana, The term is Ishta, something I want. Whether by choosing this, whether that going to be satisfied or not. So whether this is the means to achieve that goal or not. On that choosing will take place, decide. So whether something is my Ishta sadhana, Ishta is what I want, and sadhana, the means for that. So suppose if I want to choose something, I will be always choosing in terms of my Ishta. So for a thief, let us say, his Ishta is different and his sadhana will be different. But whether question is that, whether a model should be of the thief or the model should be of Rama. So Ramadivat pravartitavyam na Ravanadivat. They say. Keep a model of Rama before you and don't keep a model of Ravana before you. Showing that though both Ishta sadhana applicable in this case also, in that case also. But here comes of deciding what is good and what is bad. So hita, that which is not at the sacrifice of hita of someone else. So there is one verse in the Mahabharata that what you do not want, what is not liked by you, you should not do for others. If you know that something is not good for me, then that you should not repeat for others. So that should be a kind of a morality with which that should be the goal to achieve, and that is possible only by analysis, and that requires Nyaya Shastra.
I have one question. You spoke of, you defined avidya.
Avidya.
Avidya. And so vidya, we know, and avidya was the other vidya which you said.
Other than Vidya.
Other than vidya. I'll request you to throw some light in context of avidya as mentioned by Patanjali as klesha.
He wants you to explain avidya as mentioned by Patanjali as klesha.
So
Because normally we define it as
true.
ignorance.
That is the context is different. That context of Patanjali is different, but still I can generalize it. You see, once we have decided, once we have come to know that Vidya will take me to Apta Kama state. Is not so? A state which is desireless. I have got everything what I wanted. That's all, I don't want anything. Any other knowledge system which will take me to a state where there will always be something that I should need, I will need. Is not so? And that will always put me in klesha. That will never allow me to be at. So, therefore, Patanjali says, Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. So, you cannot go back to your old self then. So, avidya will never allow you to be in you because a desire has not been satisfied. That is the reason that this avidya, these knowledge systems, what we call knowledge systems for sustenance. So that a very limited purpose it has. Sustain yourself. But your purpose is not served. Your purpose is only to go for vidya in order to achieve the state of complete fulfillment. And that is why klesha.
Thank you so much, sir. I mean, I know that there is 45 minutes is definitely not enough to learn all that there is to learn about even this one darshan, let alone the other darshanas. And we hope that we will,
what I brought, 1% also I could not communicate. Anyway,
but
I must thank you all for giving this opportunity to us to see you and whatever little. So at least my heart you have now known, and you have also known the heart of our tradition. I wish that you should try to acquaint yourself with this invaluable tradition, I tell you. Now, me and my wife started a trust called Rishi Rina Trust. Now you understand what we want. All that we have, it is only a debt of our Rishi. And we have to pay it back. How can we pay it back? By sharing. So we have one, let me do some advertisement. So we have one website, www.vidyavatika.org. Kindly open and see what we are doing and what you should do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. As we come to the end of this enriching session, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Professor V.N. Jha for sharing his profound insights into Nyaya philosophy, helping us deepen our understanding of logic, reasoning and truth-seeking. And trust me, sir, आपके notes के साथ-साथ हम सब ने बैठ के बहुत सारे notes बनाए हैं और अभी हमें भी उसमें बहुत reflect करना है, मंथन करना है, निधिध्यासन करना है. So thank you so much for that food for thought. And a sincere thanks to you, Ms. Radhika Radiyal, for moderating this discussion, for so seamlessly fostering and engaging and interacting, exchanging the ideas for us. To each one of us, to each one of you, our incredible audience, whether joining us in person or virtually, thank you so much for your enthusiasm, thoughtful participation and dedication to explore the wisdom of yoga and philosophy, be it ethics or moral. This session has been a beautiful testament to the theme, Yoga for One Earth, One Health, reminding us that yoga transcends the mat, offering clarity of thoughts and harmony within ourselves and the world around us. On that note, we would like to close the ceremony with the Shanti Path once again.
God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. Let's everybody sit comfortably. Even our online participants can make themselves comfortable as wherever they are. Try to join your hands in Namaskar Mudra and please close your eyes. और हम सब पूर्णता की ओर बढ़ते हैं पूर्णमदा पाठ के साथ. Let's take a breath in. Om Purnamada
Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
You may release your hands and open your eyes. Thank you, everyone, and we invite you to continue this journey of learning, reflection, and practice, and we look forward to seeing you at our future sessions of Yoginar. Namaste, Dhanyavad.